Hi. So apparently getting fit is now considered being fat phobic. I saw this trend going on social media. It's also along with the fat acceptance movement, and to a certain extent I kind of agree. Like bullying someone just because they are fat is you being a shitty person. However, wanting to be healthy and in great shape should not be lumped in with being fat phobic. I think this is just such a massive cope, in my opinion. And for those of you who's unfamiliar with the word fat phobic or fat phobia, Google actually defines it as the fear, dislike, or prejudice against people who are overweight or obese, right? So, kind of having a discrimination or negative stereotype towards someone just because they are fat or obese. And I might trigger some people here, but I have to be authentic to myself. I don't care what other people do with their bodies. I will always try and guide you and advise you. And if you want to change, then I'll be with you there all the way. I'll be with you, no questions asked. However, I would say you not wanting to change and not wanting any advice or input is not going to become my problem. I can't force a horse to drink the water. I tried. If you are happy with your body, whether it is obese or not, I won't judge you for that, okay? But unfortunately, when it comes to myself, there are certain standards I have for what I want my body to look like and feel like and perform like. So I think that or I know that the more unhealthy weight I gain, the less confident I feel, the more my health declines, the more my mental and physical performance is not where it's at. So, wanting to better myself and not be obese isn't saying I have a problem with obese people. Okay, that's not true. Just do you be yourself. Just as long as you doing what you want for your body, I should be able to do the same. Okay? The only reason I wouldn't want to be around you is if you are just a shitty person. And what I'm trying to say here is that you can look however you want to, believe in whatever you want, but if it starts negatively impacting my life, then I am out of there. Like, I wish you the best, like, no hate whatsoever. We just weren't meant to be in each other's lives, and it's okay. Now, some people's gonna ask, or has been asking also, isn't it better for people just to be healthy and fit? You see, the problem with better is that some people value other things over being healthy and fit, and that's like wholly subjective. They're not wrong, they're not right, it's their lives. And as long as their choices don't affect yours, their better is up to them. The same way your better is up to you. I'm personally not a fan of fat, but the last time I demeaned anyone for being fat was in primary school. On the other hand, though, complaining about problems that they brought on themselves and still refuse any responsibility for is just it's crazy work. It's insanity. Even if you are if you're fat or a drug addict or you're just sick and you don't want to change that, it just shouldn't become other people's problem. Okay? However, I still have friends in my life that don't value the same things I value. So they value going to parties, having alcohol, doing party drugs, eating the junk food more than going to gym and eating well and having good sleep. And I'm changing my opinion or just having a much more open mind about people's lifestyles. Like, you can live your life to whatever degree you want to, as long as you don't force me to participate in it. I will still be your friend. Like, I'm not going to look down on you just because you have or value different things as what I value. Okay? Every person is beautiful in some way or another. Like, every person can have beauty internally, meaning like their personality and how they treat others. That's very important. And I think that's why blind dating is also something that still has a bit of popularity to it. I just think though the hardest part for obese people is gonna be the fact that the physical attraction isn't there the way it is naturally for others. Now, this isn't I'm not speaking for everyone. There is a preference, of course, but I've always just found that people with unhealthy fat often have to have a lot going on for them if they want to try and win someone over with a preference for in shape bodies. It is kind of sad, right? But I can't judge another person's preference, right? At the end of the day, you have to be honest about what you find attractive and what you don't. And so a quote unquote fat person can type the exact same thing on a dating profile as someone of a normal size, let's say, but will be completely will be treated completely differently. And yeah, it is a terrible feeling, I imagine, but we are also lucky enough that everyone who wants to change can change in most cases. Okay, it's not a disability that you're always stuck with for life. I just think that some people stick to that label and mindset for life, and that's their choice. You know, we as a society shouldn't treat them any differently than a skinny or in shape person. And with that, there are two myths that I think people should really get rid of. The first one is being fat is universally unhealthy. Like, this one is just completely untrue. There are very skinny people who are quite unhealthy. Okay, serious conditions like cancer or meth addiction are actually known for making people thin. And so, health is not only for thin people, but both thin and obese people can be medically unhealthy. This is true. The second one is going to be shame makes people lose weight. Now, if this were true, there would actually be no fat people left in the world, right? I don't think glaring down at a fat person and saying, like, yo, are you really going to eat that shit? Like, that's not going to make a difference. They are already swimming in cultural pressure to change. Like, fat shaming in most cases just makes the person continue their habits. So, I think we should take a different approach. You know, you deserve the same opportunities as everyone, regardless of your body weight. There are exceptions, however. Like, for instance, in my opinion, you can't be obese or be a generally unhealthy person and teach fitness or like be a medical doctor and expect people to trust you. Some people might be okay with that, but when it comes to me, I'd much rather prefer someone that is in shape, taking care of the health, and eating well to guide me. Okay? And the argument against this one is that some people is going to say that, yeah, but what is factually true can come from anyone. Meaning, let's say an obese person goes to study personal training. What this person learns, they can still give you, in theory, the right advice and like how to take care of your body and how to take care of your health, regardless of their own habits. Right? A textbook is going to give you the right information. So if a fat person is reading from a textbook and giving you that information, the information is still true. However, the difference for me is that the person who studies personal training and is also in shape, is also taking care of their health, etc., will have much more practical real life experience. And I think that, in my opinion, is just so valuable. Like a silly, easy example might be that the in shape person can tell me, I found this exercise easier and more effective if I adjust my leg like this or my back like this instead of, the conventional method of doing things. Or I know running is hard, but what I've learned from running is to have time goals instead of distance covered goals, like run for 10 minutes and then for 2, walk for 2, and then run for 15 minutes and then walk for 3, and then your distance that you cover will automatically also be improved. Right? I think the on hands experience and teachings would just be much better for me. And it feels like I'm not also all alone in this. Like, there's a community sharing their mistakes, their achievements, and their findings with each other, and that just beats a person teaching and preaching from a textbook, I think. And yeah, people get mad about this. Like, I saw a video of a woman saying, fat people should be allowed to eat what they want without feeling guilty about it, just get over it. And I agree. You have a drip. This lady had a drip to her face, I'm assuming attached to an oxygen tank. So uh if that's how, if she doesn't feel guilty about that, then it's her thing. People should mind their own damn business. Stop preaching to people that don't want to change. Like, I'll actually agree with that. What's not gonna happen though is you telling me that I should feel some type of way because I don't want to look and feel that way. I don't personally want a drip attached to me or dependent on a oxygen tank, and that doesn't make me fat phobic. I will accept that people come in different shapes and sizes, but there's obviously a difference between healthy and unhealthy weight. Okay? Biggest takeaway from this is that you wouldn't listen to a drug addict telling you how to get clean. Just as much as you wouldn't listen to an atheist on how to get to know God better. Um, but yeah, I think, at the end of the day, you should just stand up for what you believe in, and don't be ashamed of your preferences. Uh, that is just my humble opinion, though. So if you've listened and watched this far, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.